handmade tabletop. So I had an idea, and I'm going to do 2 little drawings, little collage paintings side by side, because I had an idea for a bigger piece, and I really wanted to work it out small in a thumbnail. So that's what I'm doing. I started out with some colored pencil, then I added some black paint, and now I'm adding Posca paint pens. And all I'm doing is I'm just feeling my way through this. I'm laying down a ton of marks and colors just so that I have some sort of jumping off point. And I'm basically doing very similar things on the left side and on the right side. I'm using a variety of colors, a variety of marks, and I'm trying to keep it almost the same. And I did write down that I'm going to collage over the left side and I'm going to paint negative space on the right side. You will see as we come to the conclusion of this that I kind of go a little too far. But, I learned, and that's all that I can hope for every time I sit down in my studio is to learn. So here we are. I'm so happy that you're here inside my studio with me. And let's see what I end up with. I had an idea for 3 vases with some flowers, and I wanted to do them abstractly in the manner of Matisse, but also an artist named Rex Ray. He was a California artist, and I love his mod style. It reminds me of like the old Batman series in the 60s, like an Andy Warhol type pop art, but it's more botanical-ish, I find. So that's what I was thinking I was going to do. So once my little thumbnails are dry, I'm going to start cutting out some shapes. And all I'm doing is cutting out a square and then cutting out a big U. And then the little square that's left over, I cut out a small U. And then the 3 pieces, I'm just laying them down. And I'm doing that over and over again on these 2 pieces. I'm just cutting out little itty bits of paper. This is going to go really quickly. It even went fast in real time, but I sped it up so that you don't have to watch me, cutting every single little piece. Just know that I'm just cutting squares and then cutting U's out of them, like a squared U shape out of them, and then another U shape out of the small bit that's left over from the inside of the first U. And I'm just laying those 3 pieces down over and over and over again in all different colors. I was trying to keep this very modern looking, like I said, like the old Batman series. That was my thought in my head. How, I don't know if anybody knows the old Batman series in the 60s. It was very, very colorful. And every time Batman hit somebody or Robin hit somebody, they'd have the big pow come up. I'm not doing those kinds of shapes, but this very much reminds me of the 60s and 70s. Excuse me. So I've got the whole background laid down. And then I was deciding, all right, I wanted to do 3 vases, right? So let me try out some shapes. I tried that lavender at first and it didn't do anything for me. So I'm just using all of the papers that I'm cutting for the collage are my painted papers. This is the inside of an envelope that I'm using right now that I just painted some blue paint on, a transparent wash. It was probably left over from somewhere. And I'm looking to see what do I like, what's working for me. I put those bluish shapes down to represent the vases, and then I spot my green, and I'm still trying to figure this out. Do I want 3 different colors? Do I like that yellow instead of the I don't know what even that first color was that I had down there in the short on the right side of the vase. It was kind of like a murky pink. So do I like the 3 different colors? And I decide, no, I think I like the 3. I think I want the 3 vases to be green. And I'm picking just random spots on this green painted paper so I get some sort of pattern on my vase without having to actually put the pattern. It was already built into it just from the way I applied the paint. I'm going to do the same thing on the right side because this whole exercise is I want to compare. Do I want to do full collage where everything is visible so the background stays the same and then the vases get laid on top of it? Or do I want to paint the background negatively? Put all that texture down, but then maybe tone the background down and have the vases, draw the vases on instead of cut the vases on, instead of collaging the vases on. So the right side, I'm going to draw the vases in so that the background pattern shows through. And on the left side, I'm cutting the vases so that the pattern in the background is being covered and the vases are a positive shape on the background. So I'm not sure if I explained that correctly. So the left side, I'm putting a positive shape on the background. The right side, I am going to paint the background negatively. Actually, I end up drawing the vases on. So the background shows through the vases. And I kind of tone down the background. All right, here I am just adding some of my abstracted flower shapes, and I literally am just cutting any random shape. All right, I've got some white, some yellow, and some magenta, and I'm going to work on painting the negative space and carving out my vases, the vase shapes. And I realized pretty quickly on that I kind of didn't have enough of a plan, and I started to obliterate the shape that I wanted. I'm trying to follow the shape that I want, the shapes of the vase that are on the left-hand side. And I find pretty quickly on that I'm just making a big mess. And I'm not really happy with the yellow in the background. Not at all. So you're going to see quite quickly I change my direction and go a different way. And that is the whole purpose of me learning by doing a thumbnail. That's the whole purpose of anybody doing a thumbnail, so that you can learn. Now, what I could have done is kept this as is and then started a new one so that I would have had a variety of thumbnails, but I did not do that. I quickly went in with my magenta and let me give myself a magenta background and carve those shapes of the vases so that I can see them a little better. And you can see the background collage shows through the vases. And I quite like this much better than the yellow. The yellow, for some reason, was too anemic looking to me. It didn't do enough for me. So I'm just going to continue along painting my negative space, the background. And then I decide I don't like that either. So I kind of rub as much of it off as I can. But it did end up toning the background. So I thought maybe let me do some pink Posca pen. Nope, that didn't work. And I get out my black ink with my dip pen, and now I go in and I sketch out the vases and the flowers, and I like this much better. I only wish I had left it like this, but alas, I did not. I started this whole process trying to work out a bigger piece in my head, and I accomplished that. I'm not so sure that either of these are great, but I do know where I want to go with one. I prefer the one that I'm working on right now. Leave the background and the subject kind of the same and just outline, my subject. Do a pen drawing. I really like the look of this, and I think I'm going to do that on a bigger piece. Here they are finished, and you're going to see I wish I had left it like this, but I did not. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you come back and have fun with me inside my studio.